This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
Well, all right. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Jay McLovin, here on the afternoon show with Tony Gonzalez. Gonzo's still homesick. We hope he'll have a speedy recovery so he can get back on the show. But in the meantime, just take care of Gonzo, get better. Hopefully, Tony, my internet is going to cooperate. I'm down to like one bar. I live out in the forest, so I'm going left and right with internet. So if you see me circle out or whatever, just take the show over and I'll get back in when I can get back in. Other than that, Tony, it's all yours.
Okay, guys, let's jump right into it, man. What a World Series game last night. Dodgers won the game in 18 innings, won 6-5 on Freddie Freeman's game-winning walk-off home run. But real quick, I wanted to give you some quick facts about this crazy game last night. Of course, it was 18 innings, 6 hours and 39 minutes, 609 pitches, 312 for the Dodgers, 297 for Toronto. Of course, Freddie Freeman's walk-off home run to win it. Shohei Ohtani, 4 for 4, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, and 5 walks. 4 of them was intentional. The other one was intentional, but they did throw the 4 pitches. Will Klein for the Dodgers had 4 innings of 0 runs and relief. That's the most he's pitched, and a relief outing for the Dodgers. 37 runners left on base, 25 position players used, and 19 pitchers used. This was one for the books, man. This was a crazy game. I stayed up and watched it all, but it was something else. Toronto had many chances, but the Dodgers made the plays they had to because Toronto pushed the envelope and trying to get runners. I mean, and it took a great throw to third base to get a guy out at third base. It took a good play at home plate to throw a guy out. So at pinch time, Dodgers made the defensive plays that they had to make to keep the game tied and eventually win the game. So it was a very good game. Jay, your thoughts? And he's out. Just as I give it to him. Yeah, it was a great game, everybody. I was really I'm not a Dodgers fan. My wife's a big Dodgers fan, but I'm kind of rooting for Toronto. But right now, Dodgers have got a 2-1 lead, and they've got Ohtani on the mound tonight. Jay, your thoughts on last night's game and the game we got coming up tonight?
Yeah, my thoughts are I used to be able to see, the first inning all the way to the 9th inning if I held my phone like this. But then after last night's game was carrying on, I had to go to landscape mode to see the full. That's how you know it's been a long game. When you're looking at all the innings like this. That's the first indicator you in for a haul. How do I look at this game? I look at this game as incredibly well played on both ends. Pitching, was good. I thought Glossman kind of got himself into a little bit of trouble early on, but then he kind of worked the ship out a little bit. But man, oh man. Ohtani, that dude he just always, he really is showing you. And this is what I was trying to tell Frankie about why I don't see Judge in these categories of the legends of the Yankee greats. He's just a good regular season player, is because when you want to be iconic and when you want to be in the DiMaggios and the Garys and the Roos, this is the kind of performance you got to be putting down. What you're seeing Ohtani do this postseason is the kind of stuff that gets you into those iconic stories, those iconic layers. When a team is telling you we're not pitching this guy anymore because he's kicking our ass, that's the kind of guy that legends and icons are made out of. Tip my hat to Ohtani. The guy's just playing lights out, man. Pitching lights out, hitting lights out. Yeah, so that's where I was coming from with that Judge. This is what I mean, especially after Judge been in the league 10 years, and we're not seeing this level of performance out of him yet. And Ohtani's done it in just a couple of seasons here in America, and he's already, or not a couple of seasons, it's been more than that, but I mean, that's what excites me. But no, but I mean, look at the box score. At the stats, as my brain goes left a little bit. I lost. Where was it? There it is, man. That's how you know you played a game. When the Blue Jays have, let's see here, they had. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Dadgummit, Jay. Here we go. When you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pitchers. I mean, that's how you know you played a hell of a game, right? Scherzer went 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 errors, or 3 earned runs, I'm sorry, and a walk. 3 strikeouts, 2 home runs. Scherzer did not look like typical Scherzer. Scherzer looked like a kind of a pitcher that has good stuff, but is fading his way out of the league. I almost kind of think Scherzer's at that level now where if he wants to continue to play baseball, he should go the John Smoltz route and just be a closer. Just come in and give him that 1 inning. I think it's going to extend the longevity, and I think he'll give you a good, solid closing. But again, he's up there in age, so I don't know if that's necessarily something they want to do. But yeah, him and Glossman. Glossman, I think, gave up like 4. I believe it was 4 runs, if I'm not mistaken, Tony. I think he gave up 4 runs in the 4th inning. And I think he came out in the 6th inning or 7th inning, if memory serves correctly. But, I mean, again, the Toronto brought the hitting. When I told you yesterday, I said, what does Toronto have to now? Again, they didn't get the win, but again, we went 18 innings, so it is what it is. But it was incredible. All their hitters showed up. Everybody showed up. They didn't have Springer, and they still played incredibly well. So that the anemic side of it actually panned itself out. If you look at the Dodgers and Toronto, once they got to that 9th inning, Tony, they had no problems getting people on base. For that first 9 innings of the game, both teams were getting men on base at a pretty easy rate. I mean, they were no problem. We're on base. But when that 9th inning hit and they went into extra innings, Tony, it was like you couldn't get a run to save your life. And I got to tip my hat to Toronto. They tried. I don't know if you saw, but that one guy, they pressured it, and they tried to, and I think it was – who was it that threw him out? What if it was Hernandez? Maybe it was Tejas threw him out from the outfield, but he got caught coming into third base. If you saw that, I mean, he had him. I mean, he had feet, Tony. I mean, it was probably like this much gap between him and the bag when you saw that tag get applied. But I don't blame him for doing that. I mean, you're trying to end the game. You're trying to get your guys there, and it didn't pan out. The other one was, I don't know if you saw it, but when and I forget the players it was, but when the guy was it was in extra innings when he was sliding into home. And the guy extended his leg out and prevented his hand getting to the plate, and he got tagged out. And they did the replay, and they thought it should have been obstruction, which I fully believe it was obstruction. I don't know how they didn't get that as obstruction, because you could clearly see the dude's hand hit the dude's shin guard in front of home plate. Yeah. So how is that not obstruction?
Well, they read the rule, and they said by the rule, and I'm not saying that I agree with the rule, but by the rule that there was space for there, and he's allowed, because he's there in the plate, he can run him over. Also, so and it wouldn't get called against them. So they said because of where the rules written that was the right call. Now, that's just what they said on TV last night. I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but that's what they said last night. Toronto pushed it, and
the rules fine. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, Toronto pushed it with a couple opportunities.
I'm sorry, I'm probably delayed.
Yeah, and the Dodgers made great plays, and got the outs.
My thing was, I agree with the rule. I don't have a problem with the rule, but when I watched that guy, when you watch that play, the catcher initially is in front of home plate. You know what I'm saying? There is clear path to the plate. And then when you see him go to make the tag, if he reaches around with his body to make the tag while the guy's sliding, then I think the rule is appropriate. But when he took his leg and stretched it all the way across the plate, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was still in this position. All he did was stick out his leg in front of the plate and tag him. That's the problem I have, because I watched it. I saw that video, and if this is the shin guard, it went just like this, and then it cat off to the side of it.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean but hey, MLB calls it the way MLB calls it, and we live with and fight another day. That kind of takes me into tonight's game, Tony. My thing is, here's the thing. I think obviously this is a must-win for Toronto. They cannot lose tonight and expect to win this series. If they lose tonight, I'm telling you, this series is done. It's just flat out done. So tonight, Toronto has to go in there and they have to get this win. But it's going to be so hard for them, Tony, because that bench that is not deep for Toronto like it is for LA. LA's bench goes pretty damn deep. And the fact that they only used Kershaw for one inning last night, that tells me they can get at least 3 to 4 innings off of Kershaw easily. You know what I'm saying? Along with their starter and they're part of their bullpen that they have. I mean, that's why I feel like, and I guess the Seattle-Houston game, when they were in the playoffs, was it 22 or 23, somewhere in the neighborhood. And that game went 15 innings and extra innings. And Houston wound up getting the win. And then Houston wound up coming out the next night, and they were ready to go, and they wound up taking it. So it really kind of depends on what team got hit hardest last night as to who I think has the best shot today. And I got to tell you, I think Toronto was definitely the team that got hit the hardest out of last night. And it's going to be very difficult, Tony. I mean, Bieber is he's going up against Ohtani, number one. So you already got that working against you. And Bieber is going to have to give them at least 6 innings in order to make this work. If he doesn't give at least 6 innings, they're done. And also it's going to depend on how they play. I mean, how will they score in that first 6 innings too. But if you ask me, man, I mean, I would not feel good about my team right now. I would not feel good about Toronto going into tonight's game. I mean, it's going to take an all hands effort of immense proportions, I think, to get that win in LA.
Yeah, I agree, Jay. I think it's a must win because if you go down 3-1, now you're going to have to win 3 straight against the Dodgers and win them at LA and then 2 at home. And I think they've got to win tonight, get it to 2-2, and you're guaranteed you're going to get at least 1 game back at home and hoping for at least 2. I think that Toronto's in a lot of trouble. I think that losing that game last night could have done them in. We'll see. I think the Toronto will fight, but I just don't like the pitching matchup. Bieber's capable, but Ohtani's looked pretty good in the playoffs, especially his last outing. So I think Toronto's in trouble.
Oh, I definitely think Toronto's in trouble. I mean, baseball players are superstitious. They're built on routines. They have certain routines that they have to follow every day, in order for them to go out there and play. I mean, they're just superstitious like that, which the whole game is honestly superstitious. But so if I'm the manager of Toronto, I'm thinking to myself, damn, man, they probably didn't get back to the hotel until probably 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. If I'm the Toronto manager, I'm like, look, man, just be at the game, about an hour and a half before start time and just sleep your ass off, but the players aren't going to sleep because they're going to do their pregame rituals if they do. So yeah, it's going to be hard, man. But I got to tell you though, Tony, I felt like, coming into this series, I felt like this was going to be, I don't want to say a cakewalk, but I felt like it was it just felt very insurmountable against this healthy LA team. They're just so well balanced. They're so deep. It's like a juggernaut over there. And so I was expecting to see probably a lackluster World Series. I really wasn't expecting. But I got to tell you, out of the first 3 games of this World Series, it actually has become a very good series. And I got to tip my hat to Toronto because I didn't give you enough credit, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you got to remember Toronto won the most games out of any team in baseball this year by 1 game over the Dodgers. So, I mean, they're a good team. I agree. I think the Dodgers have just got too much depth. But we'll see. We'll see what Toronto can do tonight. Anything else on the baseball game, Jay, before we move to Monday Night Football?
No, we're good. Go ahead, Bubba.
Okay, let's move right into this game. This wasn't a real great game to watch. Kansas City pretty much controlled this game after the first quarter. Kansas City won 28-7. Kansas City had 432 yards of total offense, 148 yards rushing, which is really good for KC because they struggle rushing the football or have in previous games. Washington only had 260 total yards of offense and only 60 yards rushing. Yeah, Kansas City looked pretty dominant in this game, and Washington needs Daniels back. So, and I don't know how soon that's going to happen. McLaren did come back from Washington, did get a touchdown, so that was good for Washington. They did get him back. But, yeah, I think KC's moving in the right direction, and Washington's not. But Washington's got a lot of injuries. KC's getting healthier, so that's kind of maybe part of the reason. So, Jay, your thoughts on this Kansas City game last night?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a case of just not having enough. Obviously, with injuries. Kansas City, Rashee Rice. I felt like when Rashee Rice came back to that team, that was going to give them the deep threat to open it up for everybody else, and that's exactly what's happening. Since Rashee Rice has come back, the Chiefs just look like a different team than they have when he wasn't there. Even to the point where Kelsey's even getting his catches back up. Kelsey had a monstrous night the other night. I forget the exact yardage that Kelsey walked away with, but I know it was or not. It was 99 yards. I couldn't remember if it was 99 or right at all over 100. So he was 1 yard shy of 100 on 6 catches and a touchdown. I mean, that's a typical Kelsey that we've known we've known for a long period of time. And again, I think Rashee Rice is a big part of that. And, you need to be able to stretch the field to open it up for everybody else, and that's what I think we're seeing with Kansas City. But on the flip side, Mariota, I mean, he's not Jay Daniels. Mariota is a good backup, but again, he didn't have a good night. Touchdown, 2 picks. You can't go well against in Arrowhead Stadium with 2 picks, but. It is what it is. I don't know. I even looked at how much they had 28 yards rushing. I mean, and it was by Mariota. I don't know, man. This Washington team, I think they're expecting Jay Daniels to be back on the next game. It's just going to depend on how well he's able to practice next week coming up. But again, I didn't get to watch much of this game because again, I was watching most of the World Series. But do you know what was McLaurin? Is he still out? Or
no, he played. He actually got a touchdown.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, and Debo actually. So I don't know. I mean, outside of not having Jaden, I felt like I don't know, man. I felt like Chicago. I felt like Washington just didn't. And maybe it is. Maybe just Mariota just doesn't have the gas, that he takes. But
Kansas City is tough on backup quarterbacks and young quarterbacks. Kansas City defense usually controls backups and rookies. So that's not really surprising. I tell you, for Kansas City, their quarterback had a decent night, but he had 2 interceptions too. So he's not having a bad year, but he's not having, by his standards, you would call a great year so far.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, again, when you got 60, they had 60 all-purpose, not all-purpose. They had 60 rushing yards on 20 attempts. I think that was probably that might have been probably the biggest part of that is just the fact that they couldn't get a run game going, which goes to what you were talking about, the defense and how well they played. When you don't have a rushing game, I mean, because they didn't have them. I mean, they only had 3 penalties. But what killed them was the turnovers and the lack of a run game. And when you look at even further into that, you look at 14 first downs to 26 first downs, and that tells you a lot right there. And if you dive in a little bit further, when you look at the total yardage of 432 to 260, and again, the reason why it was 260 is because you had no run game, and they were running the ball. So, I mean, it is what it is. They ran 100, and again. One of the things that has killed me was Pacheco and Hunt and that lack of a run game. They have not done anything all year, and now they want to put up 148 yards rushing.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, there's definitely some things that Washington still needs to work out over there. But I think getting Jaden Daniels back, hopefully, will be when he does come back, that will give him a boost on that offense and then get things rolling again.
Yeah, they got to get him back healthy. I mean, this is the second time out, so he's banged up, and they got to get him. I mean, they don't need him 75%.
Yeah, then you look at time of possession at 34 minutes to 25 minutes. I mean,
yeah, there was pretty much domination by Kansas City.
Yeah, again, I didn't get to watch too much of this game because I was busy watching the World Series. But one thing I wanted to check out real quick. I just wanted to see something real quick. So if you look at, I wanted to see. Yeah, I'm really surprised. Krosky Merritt, he's actually been playing pretty well on the run game for them, and he only had 25 yards, which is 2.8. I mean, that's so. I mean, and then as a team, they were only averaging 3 yards on a carry. Which is when they obviously weren't converting on those fourth downs or third downs, so that was a big thing for them.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
But, yeah. I mean, really, when I think about it, when you really look at it, I mean, Pacheco only had 58 yards of rushing. And I would have thought they would have rushed him a lot more than just 12 attempts. Kareem Hunt got 9. Patrick Mahomes got 4 carries. I mean, they had 30 carries total for a 148. But again, a lot of that was done by committee.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way they do it, Jay. They don't because I've got Pacheco, and he's lucky to get the ball 12 times a game at the most.
Which is interesting to me because he's averaging 4.8 yards. And you got the lead, so it's not like. As a matter of fact, if anything, you should be using the run game more to eat the clock away. And I don't understand why they got away so much from the run.
And the thing that kills me is that Pachinko will get the most yards, and then they'll put Hunt in at the goal line, and Hunt gets the touchdowns.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. That's why I try to stick to. I honestly, when it comes to Kansas City now, if it's not Mahomes, I pretty much just stay away from Kansas City.
Well, Rice ain't bad. Rice, I've played Rice the last 2 weeks in my fantasy football.
No, but Rice just got back. I mean,
since he's come back though, he's done well for me. Well, Jay, let's move away from NFL and just real quick. Not going to do a lot here, but just cover a little bit of NHL hockey. Just give a brief update. We're about 8 or 9 games into the season, and got a few surprises. We got New Jersey off to a real hot start. New Jersey Devils 8-1. Montreal Canadiens are 7-3, and Pittsburgh Penguins are 7-2, and they are the top teams in the East. So that's pretty interesting. So of course, very early in the year.
Oh yeah.
And then, but the West, we got the hottest team is the Utah Mammoth, only in their second season. Yeah, last year they was in the first season was the Utah hockey club. Excuse me, not football club, hockey club, and did okay. But this year off to a hot start. They've won 7 in a row. They're 8-2, and then my Vegas Golden Knights are 5-1-3. They've had 3 ties already, but they playing pretty decent. But yeah, that's just a little thing on the NHL. We don't usually cover it a lot. Maybe get deeper into it when we get to the playoffs. But I figured maybe every 10 games or so, we'd give a little brief update so people know what's going on in the NHL. And but a little surprise right now. We got teams that's normally not there: Utah and New Jersey and Montreal leading the way right now. But it's very early.
Yeah, and then you got Dallas over there at 5. Again, we're early in the season, but we're at 5-3. I mean, we're just a bit above 500. Usually Dallas is kind of more around, first, second, or third, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah. But the fact that we're sitting in 4th in the Central. Yeah. You're right, and Utah's up there at the top, and Colorado's right there at number 2. Winnipeg. How is Edmonton do? Oh, Edmonton's off to a 500 start, and they were strong last season.
Yes,
but like said, I mean, it's early, so.
Yeah, very, very, very early. Long way to go. I'm thinking about maybe going to see my Vegas Knights play. I'm thinking about getting tickets in December to go to Columbus, Ohio, and see them play Columbus team. So I'm hoping I can get tickets. I'm trying.
Man, I would love to get tickets if I'd have to drive. The hard part. about that. I thought I had it on silent. Man, the hard part for me is in hockey is man, it's just it's like soccer, you know. It's just such a very strategic type of thing. Not a lot of scoring, a lot of back and forth, and I don't know, man. I guess my attention span is that of a gnat, so I tend to start zoning out sometimes.
Yeah, well, especially on TV, but live, I really like it. I like going to live games.
I wish Houston would get a hockey team because we have a junior hockey, like a minor league hockey team, but I wish we had like an actual full-fledged NHL. Because if I want to watch, I got to drive almost 4 hours if I want to go see a hockey game. And with Mel's work schedule, I could probably get that on the weekend. I would like to go see a game though.
Yeah,
I like the physicality of hockey. I do. That's the one thing that I do love about hockey is I like how physical and you can actually fight and nobody gets fined for it. I mean, I do enjoy that part of hockey.
Yeah, it's a very, very tough sport. Yeah, I enjoy it. Jay, let's move on to some hot seat questions I have for you. Got 5 of them, and pretty much I think all NFL. And my first one for you is, who do you believe in more right now, the Cincinnati Bengals or the Baltimore Ravens?
I'm gonna say the Ravens, and the reason why I'm saying the Ravens is Lamar Jackson is expected to be back this week, and so I expect a lot of things to get fixed over there in Baltimore. You know, Cooper Rush, Huntley. I mean, they did what they could to try to hold it down. I think Huntley did get him a win, so it does keep them, you know, just mathematically still in it. But I mean, they have a long road ahead of them. But the Bengals, on the other hand, that team is just garbage dumpster fire, man. When the Jets are beating the Bengals,
well, the offense is playing well, but listen to
defense was killing them.
Yeah, listen to this stat, Jay. They are in games where they've scored 38 points.
Right.
They are 1-3 in the last 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. They've scored 38 points and still lost 3 out of 4 games. So that tells you something about the defense, you know.
Maybe they want to spend some of all that money that they give them wide receivers. Maybe they could have got a lesser wide receiver too at a cheaper price and then put some of that money into that defense. That probably would have been a good start.
Yep. I agree. I got a bonus one because I seen this on TV, and so I'm gonna add this question and see what you think. What do you think the possibilities are that we could see 4 new coaches in the AFC North next year? Because you got to think Baltimore's coach is on the hot seat. Pittsburgh's coach is going to be on the hot seat a little bit. I think the fans are getting tired of just being so good and not going to the next level. Same thing with Baltimore. With Cincinnati. I mean, I know Baltimore and Cincinnati's had injuries, but I mean, you bring it, you scored 38 points, and you still last year they averaged 31 points a game and couldn't win. You know, Cincinnati, and then Cleveland. I mean, how long are you going to give? I mean, I know it's a rookie quarterback, but I mean, the only thing, where would these 4 coaches come from if you replaced all of them?
Yeah, and I'm wondering how much in the Bengals part of life, how much is that really Zach Taylor's fault in terms of how the money is spent to be competitive on the other side of the ball and things of that nature? Because if it's the GM that's the reason why, you know, they're spending money here or spending money there and not necessarily Zach Taylor putting in, you know, whatever, then I would say keep Zach Taylor, because you got to remember this guy had them in was it the Super Bowl or the AFC Showdown? He had him at the highest level, damn near, in year 2, and the Bengals look really, really formidable. And now you look at them, a couple of years later, and they are just really craziness.
Well, they fired their defensive coordinator, and they've gotten worse. I mean, he was kind of the scapegoat, because if you don't have talent on that side of the ball, there's only going to be so much you can do. Right.
I 100% agree with you, and I think that's it in a nutshell. Is you know, your coordinator is vital. I mean, that's how you run everything. That's how the schemes are done. All this. I mean, so if you don't have a good coordinator at the helm, like take Eberflus for example. I mean, I'm not a big Eberflus fan. Dallas's defense is terrible. We got Clark in there. our run game is now starting to go down by the wayside. You look at the secondary, it's kind of going by the wayside. And I don't see any difference in how they're running the defense. I see the same schematic, and none of it is doing a damn bit of good. Now, some of that is Jerry's fault, but also a lot of it goes on to Eberflus. And you could probably even put Diggs in there as a third person, because Diggs is just playing horrible, or has played horrible. I mean, how you get a concussion at home, guy? How you get a concussion at home?
Sounds like, to me, a guy don't want to play.
I mean, come on, man. Is this what we're doing now? So anyway, so yeah, I totally agree with you. I do think, but ultimately, because you said the word scapegoat, which we all know is correct, that's very correct, that Zach Taylor could be a scapegoat for the GM. But at some point, the GM's going to have to rectify this, or his butt's going to be on the line, because you're going to run out of people to blame it on. But with Pittsburgh and Tomlin, that's a weird thing, because Pittsburgh's culture, as we were talking about culture, Pittsburgh's culture with ownership has always been, we're loyal to our head coach. We don't shift coaches. We just don't, unless they retire or whatever. We don't really do it. So I don't know, man. I mean, maybe they will.
That's the thing with Pittsburgh. I think they would have to have somebody in mind to bring in. Somebody that they really like, say, hey, we're going to make this change but this guy's going to be our quarterback for the next 10, 15 years, because that's what they do. I mean, they don't have a lot of different coaches. They don't play that game. Right. So it had to be somebody they really liked. And I don't know if there's anybody out there like that. And I think Harbaugh's in a similar situation, because, I mean, he can't get over the hump again. And you got Lamar Jackson, who, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Of course, their defense has been terrible, even though it did play very well last week. But I think Baltimore's got a shot to get back into the playoffs, but they just they don't have much margin for error, and that's the thing when you're 2-5. But if you go the next 7 games, you go 5-2. You're back to 500 with 3 or 4 games left, and 9-8 might win that division.
Yeah, and again, I think another issue with Baltimore is their defense. I have not been impressed. Years past, that's what Baltimore was known for. Baltimore was hardcore defense, hardcore run game, and then splash the ball here and there, to your tight end Mark Andrews or whatever, and that was it. Run game, strong defense. And that's how we're gonna do. We're gonna eat up the clock, and that's what we're gonna roll. It almost kind of reminds me a little bit of how Army runs. Army's a big run type team, and they do defense. So that's the thing. And now it's like this team has reverted itself. I gotta imagine Ray Lewis is probably angry as all hell every time he watches Baltimore Ravens defense. I imagine he wants to go out of that tunnel so bad and put on the pads and get in there. So.
Okay, let's move on to my next question. Jay, who is the worst team in the NFL, in your opinion?
Oh, man. Worst team in the NFL. I'm going to go with Miami. I think Miami is the worst team in the NFL. And the reason why I say that is I cannot stand McDaniel. I can't stand that dude about as far as I can throw him. I think he is just not the right guy for that. Also, the reason why I think the worst team in the NFL comes from Tua at a press conference. Now, Tony, the man, I'm going to paraphrase. I'm going to put it in my words, but because I can't remember verbatim what that man said, but the resonating thought or idea from what he said in that press conference was basically, I'm really kind of short. I have a hard time seeing over my offensive lineman, and I don't want to throw the ball into the blind. Yeah. All right, Tua, and that's what you really want to say to everybody in the world at a press conference, even future job employers if you get released. That's what you want to tell them. I'm too short.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, Drew Brees is kind of short, and yet he passed for a shit ton of yards. Yeah. So my point is this. If your quarterback at a press conference is telling you I'm too damn short and I can't see over the whatever, maybe he's not the right guy to lead your team. Maybe it's time to put Quinn Ewers in and then put Tua on the block, and maybe you'll get a 6th rounder or a 7th rounder for him. Yeah. But that's why, that's just my thoughts of why I think Miami is the worst team in the NFL.
Okay.
Glenn, You want to answer that one too?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll answer it. It's in the AFC, but not in the AFC East. The worst team I think in the NFL is the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, that's who I had too.
Yeah, because Tony, we with them being in our division, man. Yeah, that there's situations going on with that organization, and Jay and I touched on it last week.
Yeah,
the GM stuff, and yeah,
they just don't have a lot of talent. I mean, I feel bad. I feel bad for that quarterback. I mean, he don't have a lot of talent around him, and they're putting him out there in that situation. This is a guy who I think that could be in trouble for his career because he's going to take such a beating early on because he don't have any talent around him. He might be in a situation where they should have brought in a veteran to teach him why they're bad because I don't know if this is good for him.
Yeah,
let me ask this though. Hold on, but let me ask you this though. Honestly, does Miami really have all that much talent? I mean, if you discard Waddle out of the equation, you got to imagine Tyreek Hill is probably either a career ender or definitely taking a step back because he ain't gonna be Speedy Gonzalez after what I saw that leg look like. So you got to imagine two of your best ones are kind of borderline. I mean,
more than Tennessee because they got pretty good running backs. They got that. Chain, he's real good. I think Miami's got. I'm not gonna say a lot more talent, but I definitely think they've got more talent than Tennessee.
Hey, watch this, Tony. This is how I look at it. Watch this. All right. So if Miami was a human and if Tennessee was a human, and both went to the Porta-John, and there was 2 stalls, and they pooped into it. I took out 1 poop from Miami, 1 poop from fucking Tennessee. And the only difference is they're both poop. Maybe this was a little bit fatter than this one, but you know what? They still poop.
True, but here's a good way to look at it.
You know what I mean?
Here's a good way to look at it, though. I think that quarterback that's on Tennessee's team right now, you put him on Miami, and he does better than what he's doing with Tennessee.
Yeah,
I don't know. I hear what you're saying. But it's hard I can't say that 100% with confidence that that's true. I just can't. I can't say 100% with confidence with true. I do think, I wonder if he went to Miami, if McDaniels would say, because remember Cam came out and said, the biggest problem I have with Tennessee is they won't let me play the way I want to play. If they let me play the one I play, I'm going to run the league.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
So that's what he said. I'm just telling you what the man said.
I know.
So I'm wondering if you put Cam Ward over to Miami, if McDaniels would let him do whatever he wants to do. And then if he does do whatever he wants to do, then, I don't know, man. I know. It's just a hard – he would have Waddle, so he would have a decent wide receiver. He won't have Tyreek. So what other he does have a decent run game in Action A. I don't think Pollard is the answer for Denver anymore. I think Pollard I think Pollard is good when you give him a good offensive line, but if he doesn't have a good offensive line, then he tends to struggle. And that's one thing that Tennessee doesn't have is an offensive line. So we see him struggling.
Yeah, I think Tennessee.
There was a time when Pollard was running and putting up yardage with Dallas in that offensive line.
Yep.
There was a time.
Yep, I agree. Tennessee, I think, has got a little bit better defense than Miami, even though it's hard for Tennessee because their defense is on the field so much because their offense can't do anything, so they get wore out. And as the game goes on, Tennessee starts to struggle defensively. But I think Tennessee's defense might be a little bit better than Miami. Not a lot. I mean, not enough to probably make a difference.
Yeah, still, at the end of the day,
I get that. I get that. Man, yeah. Wow. Anyway, yeah. So I get it. I mean, if you want, if you're gonna go with Miami as the worst team, not Miami. If you're gonna go with Tennessee over Miami, I'm not gonna. I was to argue with you, that would just be splitting hairs because I think both teams are just downright awful.
Yeah.
So I think at that point we're just splitting hairs. But yeah.
Well, you got New Orleans, you got the Raiders. I mean, you got some bad teams right now.
I think New Orleans is just one of those teams. They just need a quarterback.
It could be.
Now, all of their issues are not going to get solved. But if you put a good, solid quarterback in there, I definitely think that they would rise rise up a little bit in the standings. Now, this is only Kellen Moore's first year, so you can't really expect a lot out of Kellen Moore because he's got Rattler as his show, and they're trying to figure out who's going to be the quarterback, whatever. So, I mean, Kellen Moore is in a bad situation. That's why I say it's going to take 3 or 4 years for Kellen Moore effect to really take a hold of that team. So I want to see where, but I do think that New Orleans and the culture and the way that they do things in New Orleans versus how they do things in Miami and how they do things in Tennessee is better. So I do think that New Orleans has a much easier or will have a much more productive chance of being at the top than those other two teams. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, guys, my next question is, and Glenn will let you go first. Houston is 3-4 right now. Does Houston make the playoffs?
No. Only one team's making it from the AFC South, and it ain't the Texans.
Okay. All right. You don't think they can slip into a wild card, huh?
They're gonna have to go on one hell of a run because the AFC West has got 3 good teams, and I don't think they can do it.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, you might be right. Jay, what do you think? They're 3-4, playing better than they had. I mean, they played better the last couple of games, especially last game. They looked pretty good. Their defense looked really good. What do you think? Do you think that they can right the ship and maybe slip into the playoffs?
Well, looking at their schedule, we can start there to figure that part of the equation out, and then I'll give you my answer on that one. So they just came off a win against San Francisco. Their remaining schedule is Denver and Houston, Jacksonville in Houston, Tennessee on the road, Buffalo in Houston, Colts and Chiefs are both in Colts and Chiefs, and then they got Cardinals and the Raiders are at home, followed by the Chargers and Colts again. My answer to that is not a shot in hell.
Okay.
Yep.
And the reason why I say that is, number one, they have a really super hard schedule, right? But then number two, when you look at their depth chart, and number one, you don't have Mixon. He's still not there. And so you got Nick Chubb. Now, Nick Chubb is good for third down conversion and short, or it's good for O-line. That's where Nick Chubb shines. He's your thunder. The problem is he has no damn lightning, and that's where Mixon comes into play. And so I think that's the biggest. That's number one. That's the first issue, is the fact that they don't really have a good run game because Mixon's not there. So it depends on when Mixon comes back. Number one, if that can write the running game for them. Number two, Collins is still in that concussion protocol. He may or may not be in this week's game. We'll find that out hopefully by Thursday or Friday. Kirk is also another one that's questionable, but I don't think Kirk is going to be available this one. So that means Jalen Noel, the rookie, who has been playing pretty good in lieu of that, most likely will get the start again this week. And then, and then you look at, I guess the other outline factor for me is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but whenever Houston let go of the offensive coordinator, Bobby Slovic, that offense has not looked right since then.
Nope.
It just hasn't. It has just looked like dog garbage. So now that tells me, number one, you got injury problems. Number two, you have a hard-ass schedule. And number three, your offensive coordinator is nowhere near productive like what you had out of Bobby Slovic. So, again, two of those things you can rectify, but the offensive coordinator, whether plays are called and things like that, that's still an issue. And DeMeco Ryans really needs to take a hard look at that. But if you ask me, the way it is currently, unless things dramatically change in that organization, either injury-wise or coordinator-wise or whatever, or I should say not coordinator, but play calling-wise, I'm going to say no. I think Texas is done. And it sucks to say that, but yeah.
I think they still got a shot, but they got to have a couple upsets, and I think the first one is this week. They've got to be able to beat Denver, but I think you did see that was at Houston, though, right?
Yeah, Denver's in Houston.
Okay, I think they've got to be able to upset
the next two
Denver.
games are in Houston.
I think they've got to upset.
So the next two are in Houston.
I think they've got to get an upset there, and then they got to win their conference games. They got to beat Jacksonville, and they got to beat the Colts. And they got to win their conference games, and then if they can pull off another upset against the Chargers, which I think the Chargers might be easier than than Denver to have a chance to pull off an upset. Houston's defense looks like it's getting back on track. So that's why I think they got a chance. I won't say it's a great chance. I'm going to give them maybe, but before 2 weeks ago, I wanted to give them no chance. Now I'm going to give them a 30% chance. If
Now,
they can
Tony,
upset-
I have a question for you. Do
Okay.
you think they have a better chance of making it than the Ravens?
I say about the same.
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer, obviously.
I say about the same because I think because the one thing I like about Houston is their offense ain't near as good as Baltimore's, especially when Jackson comes back. But Houston's defense is better than what Baltimore's defense is, and the records is not that much difference. You got Houston 2-5, and you got Houston 3-4, and you got Baltimore 2-5. So I think I think both got a chance. I do think Baltimore's got a better chance because they're in an easier division.
Yes.
I mean, they could possibly come back and win their division. I mean, it's not impossible because that division is not very strong right now. Got one last question, guys. Who is better, Denver or New England? They both have the same record right now, I believe. I think they're both 6-2. And signature win-wise, Denver beat Philadelphia. Denver in all rights, I mean, whether you like it or not, I mean, they should have beat the Colts. But that goofy penalty that they had, which was a penalty, but if they don't have that penalty, they win that game. And New England beat Buffalo. So, who do you think the better team is? Is it? I mean, both quarterbacks are playing decent. I think right now New England's quarterback's playing a little bit better. I think Denver might have a little bit better defense than New England overall. Offensively, I think it's close. I mean, what do you guys think? Jay, who do you think the better team, Denver or New England?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out my own self. And the reason why is I'm leaning towards Denver. I really am. When you look at, they're both on 5-game win streaks, which is really, they're almost mirroring each other the way they're doing it. Even if you look at the run differential, Denver's at plus 56 and New England is at plus 67. But you can also equate that to the schedule. Maybe, the teams that they're playing. Affect that run differential. So I don't want to that's why I don't want to base it all on that. That's just some of the parameters. But then when you look at the schedule, that's what I wanted to pull up next was the schedule, because that will tell you in terms of that. New England. Okay, so there's the Patriots. When you look at the Patriots schedule, they have. Okay, here we go. So they have Atlanta. Yeah, they'll win that. Tampa. They should be able to win that because of the injury situation in Tampa. The Jets, they should win that. Bengals, I think they'd be enough to beat Giants. I mean, Buffalo is probably their biggest one, but they've beaten Buffalo. So and now they're playing Buffalo at home, and they beat Buffalo in Buffalo, and then they got Baltimore back by the Jets. So I would say that New England has probably the most favorable schedule. So if you look at the schedule, I would say New England. If you look at the team as a whole, I feel like Denver is still a little bit better as a team.
Well, yeah, because Denver's got to play. Denver's got to play their conference. They got to play. They still have to play Kansas City. They're going to have to play San Diego. That's just in the conference. I don't know about their out of conference games they still got. So Denver's definitely got a harder schedule, and then that's why I said when New England got to about 500, and I looked at their schedule, and after they beat Buffalo, and I've said, man, these dudes are going to win. I think they may win that division because of that schedule.
Now here's Denver's schedule, just so we can complete that thought.
Okay.
So Denver is playing Houston next, Vegas, Kansas City, Washington. Which by that time they'll have Jaden Daniels back, and you should be getting a good, solid Washington team at that point. Vegas again, Green Bay, Jacksonville, and we all know that Jacksonville is not exactly a washover team anymore. They actually are coming with a little something this year. Not that, but I still think they get that win. Kansas City, and then they wrap it up again, and then, like I said, then they get the Chargers again. So that's a lot of divisional games. So if just by strength of schedule. Denver has the worst schedule. So I mean, a lot of things favor New England to have the better record. But if you was to put Denver against New England right now, I would take Denver over New England.
Yeah, and I think the New England. You talked about Atlanta. You don't know what the hell you're going to get with Atlanta. They said Penix might be back. If Penix backs, that makes a big difference. But Atlanta, they're so. I mean, you don't know what team you're going to get from week to week. I mean, one week they can look like as good as team in the NFL, and then they can next week come back and look like the worst team in the NFL. So, but I think if Penix comes back, I think they got a chance against New England. But they got to run the football. I mean, they got one of the best running backs in the game. They got to use them.
Right.
Big Glenn, your thoughts?
I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you one thing about New England, and if I was Frankie.
So what I was going to get ready to say was my pick is New England because I'll keep it short and sweet. Denver should have lost to freaking Giants.
True, but they should have beat the Colts.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
That lost them to New York. Or I mean, granted that the New England the Giants game was more egregious for the most part of the game.
But that's true. But you got to look at the Giants. I mean, I know people think the Giants are terrible. Giants beat Philadelphia by 14.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just so many teams are so up and down right now that it's kind of hard to say the great team.
Absolutely.
Jay, what was you going to say?
First of all, Glenn, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I thought you thought it finished, so I apologize. Secondly, man, if you ask me what team do I think has the biggest growth, or what I think is going to have the biggest growth, it's going to be New England. I think New England. I mean, they're already at the top of their division, and I got to tell you, man, Vrabel and May and Josh McDaniels. If you keep those three dudes together for a good period of time, like Brady, this could very well turn into another one because McDaniels, that dude is a quarterback guru, and what he does for quarterback is ridiculous. And then we look at Vrabel. Vrabel's a very hands-on coach. He's very coach or player friendly. He's very user accessible. He has the lock. They had the total complete locker room in that team. I mean, this team is going to do some things. Eventually, at some point, man, I hate to say that. I was really hoping that New England would just go 30 years without getting back to the Super Bowl. But I would say give New England a good 2 to 3 years, if not sooner, and I think they could be back in the Super Bowl. I really do. I really believe that because they have a hell of a good chemistry there.
Yeah, I agree. It's happening faster than I thought it would. They're taking advantage of an easy schedule this year, but hey, you play what's put in front of you. So I'm not going to ever give anybody a hard time about that. I mean, you play what's put in front of you, and they're ahead of schedule. Ain't no doubt about it. And yeah, I agree with you. 2 or 3 years, they could definitely be back in the hunt for a Super Bowl. I still think they got to strengthen the receivers here a little bit, maybe even the running game a little bit. They're just going to be little things they're going to have to fix a little bit. Offensive line, definitely something they got to fix. They're still giving up too many sacks, and that quarterback is taking a beating, even though he's playing very well. So that would be the biggest thing. They got to get that figured out.
One thing I've noticed is, or I should say one thing what I'm basing it off of is if you look at the regular schedule right now, what they have left, it's a very soft schedule. But I think one thing that gives them credibility, or one of the things that I want to put behind what I'm saying is, and gives it credibility, is that win over Buffalo in Buffalo was a big time win. I mean, it's divisional. It's Josh Allen.
Sunday Night Football.
He's playing. I mean, and at home. I mean, that's a big time credible win. And that's why I'm saying I think just that win alone. Again, I want to see them play Buffalo with Ireland game in New England, because if they beat Buffalo again, it's time to you really got to put credit on that New England team. Even though they have a fairly soft schedule, they're showing that they can beat the bigger teams. I guess is what I'm getting at.
Mike Vrabel is a coaching savant,
or at least play with them. Which, if you go back to the Gerard Mayo, even back to Bill Belichick, I mean, That team's come a long way in not even a year. A training camp, a draft, and this is what Vrabel's done. From all of that was previous. I mean, that's incredible. That's crazy.
Yeah. We've seen the kind of work that Vrabel put in down in Tennessee, so we know he's a freaking coaching savant.
Yeah. And still don't understand what the hell Tennessee did there. That didn't make any sense.
Well, absolutely not.
That's an organizational thing. Seriously, that is a huge organizational issue, and it starts with the Adams family, and it's going to work its way down. I mean, if Vrabel can go to a team like that, I mean, and again, I don't want to it's not like Vrabel doesn't have things, right? He had a good, competent he has a competent quarterback. So, I mean, and that was on the old regime. So he did inherit some good pieces, but they weren't able to do with those pieces like what Vrabel's doing with those pieces.
It's going to be interesting. The same thing with the Colts. I mean, I'm not going to put the Colts way over New England, even though I think the Colts are playing really well. But they got to get that. We're getting ready to have, we're going to play Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh's not an easy place to play. Then we got Kansas City coming up. I mean, now we're going to see where we're at. And it's going to be the same thing for New England. Probably not going to happen to the playoffs, but how would they play against a team like Kansas City? How would they play against a team like Philadelphia if they met Philadelphia? That type of thing. How would they play against the Colts? Because the Colts' offense looks really good. So, I mean, but that's for them. That's not going to happen to the playoffs as long as they make it, which I think they will. But they're definitely moving in the right direction. I like New England a lot, unfortunately.
There's three phases, right? The regular season is phase 1. The playoffs are phase 2. And then ultimately the Super Bowl is phase 3.
You know what the Super Bowl
how will you do in all those phases?
Oh, yeah, Tony, you know what the AFC Championship is going to be this year, right?
What's it going to be?
Colts in New England, like the old days.
It's possible, but I think Kansas City's getting healthy, and they have a solid defense. I'm not going to say a great defense, but I think they have a solid defense. And So I think Kansas City is still going to be the team that you're going to have to
go win a big game. Yep.
You're going to have to take it from Kansas City. Whoever's going to do it, whether it's New England, whether it's Denver, whether it's the Colts or any other team, you're going to have to go through Kansas City to do it. That's just and same way with Philadelphia. Same way with Philadelphia. I mean, people say, "Oh, they're not playing great. They're still winning games."
Yep.
And the same thing with Philadelphia. I think there's more teams in the NFC because I like the Rams. There's some other teams I like. Tampa Bay could be dangerous if they can get healthy. Even though I've questioned Tampa Bay's defense being good enough to win the big one. There's some teams that are coming. I thought the Bears were, but they crapped the bed pretty big last week. So it's going to be an interesting rest of the season, guys. You guys got anything else before we get out of here?
No, but you got to go to the bus stop here shortly, don't you, Tony?
No.
Okay.
He got out early.
Awesome. I heard somebody's alarm go off at 3:00, so that's why I asked you.
No. He got off. He got out school day at 1.
Oh, awesome, man.
Hold on, I'm just looking at one thing real quick because I just want to point out one thing real quick.
That must be your medicine timer, Jay.
Actually, it is.
I was trying to place it where it came from because I got iPhone, so I know it didn't come from me.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, so it's amazing. So 256 million, I think, roughly, is a 2025 payroll for Toronto, and the Dodgers are over 300 million in payroll. Just saying. It's incredible when you see a team playing as well as they are against a team that has spent so much more money, man. So much more money. That's what they say, baby. You ain't got to spend money. Just develop a good developmental farm system and you can compete.
Yep.
That's all you got to do. That was just my little tidbit.
We seen when Washington won it several years back. That's when they had a good farm system too. So
yeah. I mean, there's always the two schools of approach, right? You got the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Yankees approach where you just try to outspend everybody else. and buy your championship and hope that it works. And then you got the other teams like the Miami Marlins. I think when they won theirs, they had like the lowest payroll. I mean, there's been a lot of low payroll teams that have won the World Series over the Megatrons. And that's why I would say you ain't got to spend all that damn money. Just have a good farm system. I always say farm system beat free agency every day of the week. If you can develop that talent, you're good.
Yeah, I'm sure when the Reds went in 90 with the way March Chart was, I'm sure they were one of the lowest in the league, you know. So
Oh yeah. I just think it's time. The point I'm making is, or what I would like to see is at some point, MLB Players Association, NFL Players Association, or whatever, NBA Players Association, these players associations are, I mean, look, you're doing good, but MLB, NFL, NBA, they need to do a better job regulating this damn pay.
yes,
I just think it's way out of hand. It's way out of hand, man.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous. And if they want to strike and do whatever, that's fine. Bring in the scabs, you know, because there's a shit ton of people that in the minors and whatever, you know, sub program underneath the majors of whatever sport it is that will have no problems come in and giving you some football while them other dudes figure out what they're going to do.
Especially if you give a veteran minimum base pay too, because there'd be a lot more than what they was getting beforehand.
Well, the problem with baseball is that they've let it get so out of hand. It's going to be hard to go backwards to say,
Yes.
okay, you're paying $350 million. Okay, can't do that no more. We're putting it down to $250, and now that team's going to have to cut $100 million, and that's going to be difficult. That's going to be. I think about the best you could do. Whoever the highest team is right now, you can say can't go no higher. That's it. It's the high is 350, no more. There ain't no way around it. You can't backload it, none of that. You can't spend more than 350. They got to cap it, a hard cap somewhere, and it would be hard. Maybe they could go 300 million, and but them teams would go crazy. Go, oh, we're already spending 350. Now we got to cut 50 million. That's bullshit. Well, I don't think it's bullshit, but
Yeah, you know what? I say tough shit. I say you gotta put it 225.
I just think, you know,
I just
think, you know, if some of these players, if doctors, think about it like this: if a doctor got paid what let's say Shohei Ohtani got paid, right, and he had the success rate of what baseball players have, there'd be a lot of dead sons of bitches in this world, and we would probably go back to saying, you know what? Maybe we don't need to be paying all these athletes all this money when maybe we should put more money into our infrastructure in our country. I'm just saying. I love sports. I do. I love sports more than anybody in this world. But I don't like the way the way in which we prioritize them on the economic level when their education ain't but maybe 12 years of high school, a year and a half of bullshit college, and then they're in the sport of whatever it is they're in. When a doctor's doing 24 years of schooling to do what they do for a bare minimal fraction of what said baseball players getting made. I mean, I just think we're so out of whack in this world. It blows my mind. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, Jay, look how we pay our school teachers.
Man, hey, you can tell Melanie, because Melanie does about 80 hours a week every week to get her students ready, and I don't know if players put that kind of level into their craft. But yeah, they get paid all the money in the world.
Yeah, look how school teachers get paid, and then people want to bitch because the grade they blame it all on the teacher when they're trying to teach 20, 25 students, and some students don't get it. But the parents at home won't help the students at all. That's not my job. That's a teacher's job. That's that one person's job to teach 25. It's not my job to make sure my kid learns anything.
No shit.
That's how out of whack it is.
I mean, it never ceases to amaze me. I mean, it's not like, you know, a football game isn't going to cure cancer. It's not going to cure cancer. You can go out there with all the signs you want, and you can wear all the pink stuff for breast cancer. You can do all that stuff you want, but at the end of the day, it's not going to cure cancer.
I mean,
but a doctor,
don't get me wrong.
You know,
I work at Walmart, and there's people that work at Walmart that make more money than school teachers. And I'm talking people that are just doing retail. And I'm glad that they're making a decent wage, and that's fine. But which is more important? People stocking shelves and helping customers, or people teaching our kids?
It should be the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I want to take away
Yeah.
from Walmart employees or whoever. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, it's just out of whack. I mean, same thing with our police officers and our firemen.
Why do you think there's such a shortage of teachers in our country? Because nobody can live on sometimes with what they're getting paid. With the amount of hours that they have to donate for what they're getting paid,
There's some places
it doesn't equal out. It
There's
never
some pla-
equals out.
some places play pretty well. Chicago plays pretty well. Of course, they go on strike every 2 years to get more money.
Yeah.
But because I tried to talk my daughter, because she's that's what she went to school for, and they were paying kindergarten teachers, Jay, in Chicago. Of course, the cost of living in Chicago is a different level too. They're paying them $100,000 a year in Chicago. Of course,
I get 100,000 in Chicago because I imagine that economy has got to be through the damn roof.
yeah, you can't. Jay, to find a house in Chicago, you could spend $750,000 on a house, and it may not even be fit to live in.
Yeah, it may be like the
Now,
project.
think about that for a minute. I mean, think about it for a minute. So, because I'm talking with Bo about this, and Bo's from Seattle, and we were talking about how expensive, or he was talking about how expensive it is to live in Seattle, and he said the only way you can afford to live in Seattle is if you have two people with incomes at $70,000 apiece. So if you have a household medium of $140,000, you could probably have an apartment or a, like you said, a shack house in Seattle, which blows my mind.
And it's probably higher than that now, Jay. I'm going by 5, 6, 7 years ago when my daughter and her husband was looking for a place, and there was places that in the neighborhood they were, and they lived in a nice neighborhood on the north side, very nice neighborhood. They ended up getting a condo, and it's decent, and I think they paid $300,000 for the condo or whatever, and it's decent, so it's not too bad. No parking or anything. You got one parking place, and then if anybody else comes see you, you're parking 4 blocks away. But anyway, most of the houses in that neighborhood started at 750,000 and went up. And they said they went and looked on the south side because they got a loan for $250,000. They went and looked on the south side. You couldn't even, for $250,000 on the south side, you couldn't even move into some bitch.
Exactly.
It was boarded up.
Like this though. But think about it like this, Tony. I'm gonna ask you a very obvious question, but it's gonna make a point. If an athlete, or no, I shouldn't say the athlete. If you go down with a medical emergency, who's more important to you, a doctor or an athlete?
Doctor.
Yep.
But yet we pay them a fraction to save your life. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Well, we complain about what medical people make, and it's tough because I do think sometimes the medical industry takes advantage of customers. But again, by going by that, by going by what you're saying though, compared to athletes, yeah. So yeah, there's no. I mean, without this heart doctor who was one of the best in the country and happened to be at Riley Hospital at the time and saved my daughter's life. So I mean, if it wouldn't been for him, my daughter wouldn't be here now. You know what I mean, she would have.
Let's be honest. Your daughter's life. Your daughter's life is worth $700 million. Everybody's life is worth $700 million. I mean, that's the value. That's the value of life. There's no value in giving a guy $700 million only to get, maybe a few hits. I mean, it blows my mind.
I can tell you how much my insurance company paid for my daughter from the time she was born, because I kept track of it. Because once she met $1 million, she would have been kicked off my insurance. And she made it to age 23 because she was in college. She made it to $895,000. That's how much because I kept track of it because in case I had to. But that's how much the insurance. That's not counting what I pay because the insurance didn't cover everything. But just the insurance for her with all the surgeries and all the time she spent in the hospital and everything she went through was $895,000. But because I had a friend that worked with me, and his son had a real rare form of blood disease, and he had to get this special medicine to take from England. And when his son was 15, he hit the $1 million, and his son was kicked off the insurance.
Yeah,
ain't that something?
Yep, at 15 years old.
It just blows my mind, man. That's what I'm trying to tell. That's what I'm saying. Like people, you ever seen that movie? You've seen that movie John Q, right?
Oh yeah. One of
That's
my
some
favorite
John,
movies.
look, that what you went through. That's some John Q shit.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies.
But you know what? But you know why I like that movie? Because it's real.
Yep.
That's real shit. That's real shit that's going on every day. And people are here bitching and griping about, you know, the athletes aren't getting paid enough. Like, we give a damn about no damn athlete. No offense. I care about everybody. You're wrong. But I care, you know, look, scientists, those are the ones that come up with all the cures that fixes a lot of this shit. But where does it come from? It comes from teachers. If you don't got teachers teaching these kids, where are we going?
Absolutely.
It's crazy world we live in. That's just my little 2 cents about life.
Yep.
Only afternoon do you get 3 grumpy old disabled people talking about life.
Yeah.
You ain't get that anywhere. Matter of fact, let me just rename this show to 3 Grumpy Old Men.
Okay. Well, Glenn's not that old though.
No.
Oh no. He technically no, but physically that man's old.
Yeah.
And nothing against Glenn. Seriously, that's not a knock on you. I'm just saying I know you have challenges that.
Yeah.
And look, I'm 52, but I will damn well tell you my knees are that of a 70-year-old. I mean, it just.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Glenn's old. He's old by technicality.
Okay.
Yep. I ain't gonna lie.
All right, guys, let's get out of here.
All right. Hey, again, if you guys have liked today's show and if you enjoyed our little comedy skit here at the end of the show, we certainly appreciate you hanging out. And give us a subscribe. And if you found any of this information useful, please give us a subscribe on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room, as well as ESEN, Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. And until tomorrow, it's your boy Jay, Tony, and Big Glenn saying, "This is
So long."